Hey there, I'm John,
And I'm Josh.
and we're here talking about Week 7 of the 2024 college football season. We didn't do a review on Week 6, so we might refer to some of the things that happened in Week 6. Especially, let's start off with the upsets because, hey, it's we're talking about this time.
Yeah, absolutely. So
Sort of expected it, though, didn't we?
I said
That
the one I was
particular one.
confident in was SMU beating Louisville,
Well,
and they did.
Yep.
SMU won 34-27. It was actually a really good game.
it was.
And I don't think this necessarily reflects too negatively on Louisville. I mean, SMU's only lost one game this season, right?
Yeah.
With the
They're
marquee
playing
win
good ball.
against Florida State. Navy at Air Force, 34-7. I can't say I'm surprised. Last week, I mean, the amount of upsets that there were was insane. But just on paper when I
But
was
not
looking,
this one.
yeah, on paper when I was looking, I was having a hard time. None of the upsets could I have predicted, right?
Yeah.
So one of two in Week 6 upsets. We'll see what happens next week.
That's right. All right. So let's talk about Week 7. We're going to start off with number 4 Penn State, which just sort of feels weird saying they're number 4.
Yeah.
Number 4 Penn State is going to beat USC. Gosh, this should not be a challenge for Penn State, except for the fact it's on the West Coast.
Yeah.
Long ways
Right.
away.
Because the USC's in the Big Ten now. But looking at it, let's remember USC has had a couple pretty good wins here this season.
Yeah.
They beat LSU.
Yep.
I mean, yes, they struggled in some of their games. LSU's probably their marquee win. But it's at USC. I by no means think USC is a bad program.
Mm-hmm.
So Penn State better watch out. Especially, I mean, Penn State's offense is good, but it's USC's offense that you have to stop in this game. So,
But USC is just, I don't know. They've got a lot to prove. Lincoln Riley, I mean, what do we...
no Caleb Williams, no Lincoln Riley.
That's true. That is true. All right, so next one is number 1 Texas. They're going to be at number 18 Oklahoma. This feels like, wait, is this the Red River?
The Red River.
Oh, no, so we're back to the Red River Rivalry.
Yes, thank goodness it traveled over into the SEC. I love that, actually.
So it's still there, and this time feels like Texas just has a real massive edge.
Yes, which makes me think Oklahoma's right where they want to be, right?
Probably.
One loss, Oklahoma. Yeah. If you just look at the record, yes, that's great. They struggled against Houston. They struggled against Tulane. They struggled against Auburn.
Didn't do great against Auburn,
right?
That's right.
I mean, then not only did they not do great, Auburn should have won the game, but they just are so bad that they decide to throw an interception at the end of the game.
Yeah.
But man, this rivalry, if you're just talking, I mean, if you look at pictures of the crowd in this one, they'll split it like orange and red, and it is just a top 3 rivalry in college football.
Yeah.
And you can make arguments for it to be number 1 as far as both the teams actually competing against each other, right?
That's right.
Like the Iron Bowl, let's be honest, it's an incredible rivalry, but it's mainly Alabama, right? So you look at all these crazy rivalries, this one's so close, so anything can happen. At Oklahoma, I think Texas needs to watch out. Quinn Ewers should be back.
Yeah, big game. Number 9, Ole Miss is going to be at number 13, LSU. And so, this is another big game.
I think this is huge for the SEC because there are so many one-loss SEC teams right now.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, the only non-one-loss SEC team, I believe, is Texas A&M right now. Their only loss, Texas A&M's only loss was at a conference.
Okay.
So the SEC is as wide open of a conference as you could possibly get. It is so fun.
So Texas is the only one with no loss.
Yes, Texas has no losses at all.
Yeah.
Texas A&M is undefeated in conference.
Yes.
Texas and Texas A&M play last week of the college football season.
Yes, and it's been a while.
Yeah. So anyways, Ole Miss, Jackson Dart. I was looking at their stats. They have a wide receiver who is 115 yards short of 1,000 yards. That's insane.
That's a lot.
This early on in the season, most wide receivers would kill for 1,000 yards by the end of the season.
Yeah.
And then Garrett, I'm not even going to try to pronounce the last name. Nussmeier for LSU has also been doing really well.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Dart has an insane number of yards already this year, but these are 2 really good quarterbacks going at it. I would give the edge to Ole Miss.
Okay.
Even though it's at LSU, Ole Miss's wide receiver core is just so talented. So it's hard to beat that.
Yeah, I'm with you. Arizona's going to be at number 14, BYU.
what to say.
Not much, I don't think.
Arizona just upset Utah last week.
They did.
24-10.
BYU's playing good ball, though.
BYU's playing good ball, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
and it's at BYU.
Yeah,
I
I'd be
gotta-
shocked.
I gotta lean with BYU.
Yeah. South Carolina is going to be at number 7. Alabama at number 7. Alabama.
I'll let you take this one.
Yeah, after Alabama flubbed last week's game against, of all teams,
The SEC powerhouse at Vanderbilt.
the armpit of the SEC, Vanderbilt, and it wasn't a fluke. Vanderbilt controlled the game. Vanderbilt dominated Alabama's defense, and so Alabama lost their number 1 spot. They're down to number 7. Probably lucky to be at number 7 after losing to a bad team.
AP polls, they're iffy. We'll see what rankings are really like when playoffs start.
But South Carolina's got a couple losses coming into this, so it's like, again, on paper, Alabama should win this.
Yeah. I think the worst thing about the loss to Vanderbilt was watching a team essentially run a triple option style.
It was.
Right?
It was
like
very
an RPO
option.
triple option
Yeah.
style we
Yeah.
play, and not being able to stop it is the most, as a Boise fan going against Air Force and triple teams regularly, it's the most infuriating feeling of just watching every play and just realizing we can't stop this.
No, they couldn't.
So Alabama's defense has to figure something out.
Yeah.
And quick.
Yeah.
The
And
offense,
you're right.
The offense rolls.
You're right. And South Carolina, they have a mobile quarterback. Probably not as
He
good
only
as
has like
quarterback
200
this past
yards
week.
this season rushing, but still.
But still, mobile. It just makes it harder to stop. So
And Beamer's looking for a marquee win here. He wants a big win, right?
This would be huge.
I mean, they've lost to what? Ole Miss. They've lost to LSU. Ole Miss wasn't really close. I think they competed against LSU. I don't really remember. So, at Alabama, you don't drop 2 games in a row.
You wouldn't think so. That's for sure. But yeah, Mississippi State. They're going to be at number 5. Georgia. This should just be an absolute destruction.
Barely worth mentioning.
Yeah, Mississippi State is so bad, and Georgia's Georgia. So I mean,
I agree.
Number 18, Kansas State's going to be at Colorado.
This is kind of a fun
4-1 Colorado. Yeah.
I mean, as much crap as I have talked about Colorado in my history of college, just since they've been, I guess, quote unquote, relevant, because I just have been really mad at them being relevant without having performed.
Yeah. Just because of Prime.
They're kind of performing.
They are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, their loss to Nebraska is starting to look a little iffy now.
Yeah, true.
But that was week 2?
Yeah.
Right? And
it was early on.
First couple of weeks, you just sometimes lose bad games.
Yeah.
If Colorado can beat Kansas State, I'll start making an argument for them to be in the top 25 for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
We'll see. That's a big if.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. Let's talk about Group of 5.
Yeah.
So we got Boise State. They're going to have the late game because they're all the way over in Hawaii. Hawaii's not doing that great this year.
Yeah, I mean,
Gentry's doing okay.
I'll try to keep this as brief as I can. Boise State, number 1 projected Heisman winner right now, and their running back Ashton Gency. He has 1,000+ yards and is on pace to beat Barry Sanders' all-time record, which was Barry Sanders played 11 games that season. We're playing probably 13, but he's projected to beat it by that 11-game mark with only playing 1/2 of 2 games. Right.
Yeah.
So in these 5 games, he's only technically played 4. If you haven't had a chance to watch him, it's worth it. Going to Hawaii.
On replay with this one.
Well, yeah. Spencer Danielson has already said he's the first Boise coach to say he's going to allow the Boise players 3 hours Friday or Thursday night to walk on the beach, enjoy the Hawaii. He's like, hey, this is college. Let them do what they want to do, It kind of fits, the way Spencer Danielson is, right?
Yeah.
He's energetic. He wants the best for his players. So hopefully they don't get, lost in Hawaii or mugged or something. I don't know why they're just wandering on the beach. But
not too many people get mugged in Hawaii. So
Maddox, he did really well in this last game against Utah State. The offense, number 1 in the country right now. Number 1 scoring offense, number 1 yards of offense. Boise, as far as that looks, unstoppable.
Yeah.
Especially with Ashton Gency. And then defense, they have a little more lackluster. But when you have an offense scoring as much as your offense does, you are on the field substantially more than most.
It's true. Yeah. Especially if you're keeping the ball on the ground like they are. It is true.
Yeah. Boise wins big.
Yeah,
by the way,
that's what I'm
my
expecting.
prediction.
UNLV is going to go. It's going to be at Utah State, who's only 1-4. Just got beat by Boise.
Only worth mentioning because UNLV is still one of the top group of 5 teams.
Yeah.
After a tough loss to Syracuse in overtime, Cal McCord looked great, but UNLV tried their best, man. They really did, and I expected that.
Yeah.
This is a big bounce back win.
It is big. Then FIU and Liberty played last night. It was a Tuesday night game, so one of the strange weeks. And this is crazy because FIU's not having a good season at all.
No.
They're not doing good at all. And, Liberty comes in. Liberty does win it in overtime, 31-24.
Liberty could be the first ever undefeated team by the end of the season to not be ranked.
Yeah.
I genuinely believe that.
It's possible.
Yeah, I mean, and I know for a fact.
You don't have any, marquee wins. You don't have any dominant wins.
And they're struggling against everybody.
Yes.
And I know for a fact the playoff committee will do everything in their power to not make Liberty even a chance at being the top group of 5.
That's right. That's absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. And then Coastal Carolina is going to be at James Madison. James Madison is just coming off of a loss.
To UL Monroe. What? James Madison, you had everything in your hands. And you're going to lose to UL Monroe?
Yeah.
Who? That's tough.
Yep. So both of these teams are 4-1 going into this. Much less relevant because they just can't afford having the losses, but it is a big Sun Belt game.
Especially for Coastal.
Yeah.
I mean, they haven't played, or I guess they played one Sun Belt opponent so far, so this is a big game for them. Thursday night, by the way, so kind of a fun game just to watch on Thursday.
It is. And then UAB is going to be at Navy. UAB's been struggling, getting destroyed by teams, and Navy is destroying teams.
Yes, so. Navy. We're not mentioning Army because they're on bye week, but man, Navy and Army, they look tough, man.
They do.
They look tough.
So you got those. Navy should just win that big.
I think so too.
Upset predictions. What do you have?
I think these are both pretty bold.
Okay.
I would, I wouldn't bet the house on either of these. Number 16, Utah at Arizona State. Utah's quarterback is still injured.
Yeah.
Zach Wilson's younger brother, he's just not, I don't know, he doesn't look good. And Arizona State's only losses to, Texas Tech. And Texas Tech's only losses to Washington State.
Yeah.
And I could obviously, but that's not a bad loss. And so I think at home, Arizona State, their quarterback's been playing really well.
And coming off the sting from Arizona.
Yeah. Utah's just going to hate Arizona teams this year because they're going to lose this one.
Wow, that'd be tough.
Yeah.
What's the next one?
Biggest game of the week.
It is the
biggest game of the week. We haven't talked about it yet.
Nope.
Everyone is saying Ohio State is going to steamroll Oregon.
That's what
Everyone
I'm
is saying Ohio State is the best team in the country. Who the fudge has Ohio State played besides Michigan State, who both teams just destroyed, right?
Yeah.
And so Oregon has been in a tough game against Boise, who I believe is a phenomenal football team this year. So I don't think that necessarily counts against Oregon. Ohio State hasn't done crap to deserve. I mean, yes, I understand, on paper they should be this great.
That's right.
I just don't get why we're just
giving them too much
at
love.
home that Oregon is going to lose.
Yeah.
I'm going to give the edge to Dylan Gabriel against Will Howard. Although Will Howard has been amazing this year, Oregon Ducks come in and stun the Ohio State Buckeyes.
All right.
At home.
That would be a stunner. Granted, it's number 2 and number 3 in the country, so as close as it is, but
either way, I think it's a close game.
Yeah, should be a good game.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so that's what we're thinking we're going to see in Week 7. Join us when we talk about the results.
Go Broncos.